on the basis of the political, jurisdictional, or international status of the country or territory to which a person belongs, there it be independent, trust, non-self-governing, or under any other limitation of sovereignty. The Universal Declaration of Human Rights, 10th December 1948, Awarka in 1989, defined discrimination as an unjust or prejudicial treatment between different groups of people through the lack of cognition and the lack of understanding, especially on the grounds of differences between race, religion, and culture, also between different groups. The discrimination in Ahwaz has been or has started since the occupation in 1925. Ahwazi people have been suffering from receiving and other ordinary life suffering from poor economy, while majority of Iranian yearly income come from al-Ahwaz. Suffering from political harshness of the Iranian, both regimes and the Iranian, both the regime began to change the demographic of the lands in al-Ahwaz and based of racism ideology against Arab. Many lands in al-Ahwaz have been confiscated. The name of the places have been changed from Arabic names to the Persian. Study in mother tongue became forbidden for al-Ahwazis, although Article 2 of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights pointed out that all people are entitled to receive all the rights and freedoms without distinction of race, color, the discrimination, political or other opinion. Moreover, the discrimination in al-Ahwaz in the base of ethnicity and religion is clear for majority of human rights organizations, particularly for Ahwazi cultural, political and human rights activists who often arrested by the Iranian intelligence services. The policies of changing the demographic of al-Ahwaz land, like moving Arabs from Ahwaz to other parts of Iran, and in another hand, bringing non-Arab to al-Ahwaz, is the most critical policy that Ahwazi faced due to the Iranian authorities' policy system against Arabs. Therefore, the Iranian intelligence services usually use different ways to suppress the Ahwazi voices to not be published in the world. Violations of human rights in the Ahwaz has reached to flee from them, which caused many Ahwazi to flee from their lands to protect their lives, their families, their cultures from the Iranian harsh policies. For instance, all Iranian governmental institutions, organizations, and the media works against Ahwazi history and culture to motivate non-Arab to move to Ahwaz in based of error declaration that Ahwaz is part of Iran and Arabs came from Saudi during the war between Islam and Iranian Persia. Before we start discussing more or furthermore the topic, the Persians, or especially the Ahwazi people, have connected their relations to Saudi Arabia, to late King Abdulaziz bin Abdurrahman Al Saud, the founder of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, and late King Sheikh Khaz'al of Arabistan or of Al-Ahwaz had some relations with Saudi Arabia. But since 1925, the Iranian people have been oppressed, or rather, the Ahwazi people have been oppressed by Persia. Let's take a look at this report and we'll come back for further discussions.
At the Arabistan Studies Centre in the heart of England's capital, London, Dr. Talal Al-Tarifi organised a meeting to discuss the relationship between the Al-Ahwaz people and the Saudi Kingdom.
In attendance are academics and experts in human rights, sharing knowledge and creating a much-needed dialogue about the Al-Ahwaz people.
The discussion centred around the plight of the Al-Ahwaz people and the continuous support they received from King Abdul Aziz bin Saud and his strong ties with Sheikh Khaz'al bin Jaber.
There was opinion for King Abdulaziz bin Saud, especially when the Ahwazi people were asking for his support. They were asking for his support to make their case exit.
We are here to remember that days that we are a brother, we are friends, we have a common interest, we have a common relationship between these two countries, especially with the time of the King Abdul Aziz, God bless him, and our King Sheikh Khazar.
Human rights organisations say the Al-Ahwaz people are one of the most oppressed groups in the Middle East. They have faced discrimination, been halted from learning and speaking Arabic, and there have been numerous reports of persecution.
Today we want to tell the world, yes, the Ahwazi Arab people are alive and they want their self-determination and their independence from the Iranian regime who occupied their land since 90 years ago.
Years before the Saudi kingdom was created, the relationship between the two nations stood strong.
Thanks God that the Saudi Arabia media and Arab GCC countries, all their media, they are focusing on the Ahwazi Arab issue.
The plight of the Al-Ahwaz people is not often covered by the mainstream media, but thanks to these academics and these experts here today, it's a dialogue that will continue to grow. For Saudi 2, Karen Chambers, London.
Thank you, Karen. And joining me tonight from London, Kazim Wali, an Ahwazi human rights activist. And I want to welcome you, sir, to the program. And first of all, how could you describe the discrimination against the Ahwazi people by Persia, by the Iranian government and the Iranian institutions since 1925 up to today?
Thank you very much for having me here tonight. Well, the discrimination against the Ahwazi Arab is going back to 1925, and it started in 1925. And Iran has oppressing the Ahwazi Arab and violating the human rights since 1925. And the human rights violation of the government includes the basic rights of the Ahwazi Arabs, Ahwazi men, women, and children, and there is ongoing systematic policy of the government since 1925 to expropriating the Arab farmlands. And in order to bring more settlers and in order to build a new settlements in the region and force the Ahwazi farmers out of their lands and their villages without giving them a right compensation to find a new life for themselves, or even to give them a right job or housing. So, as I said, this is a systematic discrimination and ethnic cleansing against the Ahwazi Arabs since 1925. Another point that you also mentioned in your report, in accordance to the changing the names of the cities and the villages and all areas that had an Arabic name to Persian name. So this is the existence of Arab ethnic group should be eradicated, including the names of the cities, villages. So as a result, since 1936, when this policy started to be implemented, they changed the names of, for instance, Arabistan to Khuzestan. They changed the name of the city of Muhammad to Khorramshahr. They changed the name of the city of Abadan. This is some of the biggest cities in the region.
Yes.
To Abadan, and so on. And this policy still exists in current period of time. So this is ongoing policy to eradicate any sign of the ethnic Arab in this region.
Kazim, let me stay with you as well. You are not allowed as people from Al-Ahwaz, from Arabistan. The installation of Al-Ahwazi Arabs have also been increased from all the governmental organizations. You are not allowed to have a governmental post. You are not allowed to study in your Arabic language. You are not allowed to study about your history, about your culture. How did it affect the people of Al-Ahwaz or of Arabistan, not knowing much about their history, not knowing much about their mother tongue, the Arabic language? How did it affect the people in your part of the world?
First of all, I need to mention that the existence of the Ahwazi Arab in this particular region is not new, and this is not going back to the conquest of the Muslims of Persia in the 7th century. The existence of the Ahwazi Arabs is far beyond that period, and it's going back to the 4,800 years of the Semitic civilization called Elam civilization. So this is not something, that's why some of the Persian try to indicate that the existence of Arab in this region, it comes with the conquest of Islam in 7th century. This is absolutely wrong, and there are some intellectual, even Persian intellectuals, somebody like Ahmad Kasrawi, who mentioned that the existence of Arab is going far back from that 7th century. When the beginning of the century, 20th century, it was the British government was struggling to stable the Persian central government, and on that period, Sheikh Ghazal was ruling the region independently. And the British government, because they had so many other colonial region like Iraq and India, so they had a very difficult time to stabilize the central government in Tehran. And they decided to bring an army colonel called Reza Khan and appointed him as a defense minister. And then they changed his position to be a prime minister. And then in 1925, they decided, because of his military background, they decided to appoint him as a king, as a Shah of Iran. And in 1925, he became a Shah. And with support of a British government on that time, they decided to allow him to invade Arabistan or Al-Ahwaz and end the Arabic rule. So since 1925, these policies of ethnic cleansing and the human rights violation started, and they started to, first of all, closing down all the Arabic schools in the region and imposing the people to study in Persian, even though the majority of them they don't know Persian on that time. For instance, in 1936, in Arabistan, where 98% of the population were Arabs, only 2% were Persian. So it's just it's normal that the people, they don't know, speak Persian. So they imposed them to stop studying in their mother tongue language and study in Persian. And even in the current time, this is a problem caused for many students, which is the fail rate in the primary school, for instance, in the Arab neighborhoods and Arab majority cities is about 30%. So 30% of the students in primary school, they can't continue because they don't know Persian. And this is also continue in the ethnic groups mentioned there, but even rights for the ethnic groups mentioned there, but even though rights for the ethnic groups mentioned there, but even though you cannot, or the Ahwazi cannot speak or demand these basic rights. So as a result, this has been continued for years, and still the people of Al-Ahwaz suffering from this discrimination. And after the Iraq-Iran war in 1988, the Iranian government increased the policy of the expropriating the farmlands and lands, and increased the buildings of the Persian settlements in order to attract more Persian from central Iran by giving them the right job in the right job and a right mortgage to have a suitable housing and the right job, and the indigenous people,
new settlers, Persian settlers into Al-Ahwaz
to have the
Let me stay with
to
you.
have a right job.
I want to take you to other part. Kaظم, stay with me. Now we have learned about the system, about the government, but it seems not only the racism ideology is also against Arabs. It's not only include the Iranian system, but as well the Iranian poets. We know, for instance, Ferdowsi, the Iranian historical poet, had made many poems against Arabs, as well as current Iranian poets have made several poems against Arabs. The Iranian cinema have also made several films against Arabs. They want to show you that you are savages, you are not civilized. Rose attached a film, Bride of the Fair, just to insult the Ahwazi culture. That's also not only the system, but the Persia and intellectuals in Persia are working against you. In what way could you describe that?
Well, this is also back to the Pahlavi period, when the Shah of Iran, Reza Shah, decided to have a Persian ethnic, let's say,
empire,
in not connecting in whatsoever to the Arabs or to the Islam. So they decided to find a right. So they decided. Are you hearing me?
Yes, go ahead. Yes, I'm hearing you.
You hear me?
Yes, please continue.
Yeah. So okay, so they decided to have a special identity. So they decided to have their own identity, which is not connected to the Islam, which is part of the Iranian heritage and culture. And so they started to bring poets and writing books and romans about the Arabs, and abusing the Arabs in their books in order to make their identity, or the Persian identity, is higher, to show to the people of Iran that the Persian identity is much higher and is much purer and is much better than the Arab culture and Arab civilization. So this is started again with after the 1925, and it still continue in this the Islamic regime. The Islamic regime is even more by giving more abusing to the Arabs, including the Arabs in Al-Ahwaz, and abusing the Arabs outside Iran, in order again to show to their people that the Persian identity is and culture and heritage is far better than the Arab culture. So this is again another point that the Ahwazi people suffering. So because anybody in the media or in the TV of in Iran abusing the Arabs, they are not abusing the Arabs outside the country, they are abusing the whole Arab, because we believe that we are part of the Arab world and we belong to this culture and heritage. So as a result, any abuse against the Arab is abuse against us, and in many occasions that caused a huge demonstration and protest of Ahwazi Arabs against the Iranian regime and against the Iranian individuals and actors and the intellectual who abusing the Arabs in their writings or in their arts. I just give you some in April. It was in April. Yes.
I'll come back to you by the time you.
It was in April. The Iranian forces arrested a young poet.
I'll come back to you, Mr. Kazim. Stay with me, but let me go to Dr. Muhammad Slimi. Dr. Muhammad Slimi is participating. Now there is a meeting in London hosted by the Freedom of the Ahwazi, the Arab Ahwazi people, and we will speak about it, and tomorrow we'll continue. Dr. Muhammad Slimi, first of all, I want to welcome you to the program, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Dr. Muhammad, now we have spoken, me and my guest from London, about the racism, the ideology against the Arabs in Al-Ahwaz, as well as the installation of Ahwazi Arabs have been increased from all governmental organizations and to the intellectuals. How do you read the oppression of the Ahwazi people in Al-Ahwaz?
Yeah, thank you for giving me this opportunity. Actually, Iran has been humiliating the Arab of Ahwaz for more than 90 years. The Arab of Ahwaz have been political, social, cultural, and religious rights that never been given. Although most of them actually from the Shiite religion. Poets and actually social activists have been jailed for several years for just saying few lines like of poems and like that. And a few days actually ago, we witnessed the arrest of more than 100 people of Arab Ahwaz just because they asked for their rights. Unfortunately, the regional and international associations paid no attention to those minorities in Iran, which is also the case with Azeri, Kurd, Blush, Lur, and Turkoman. They actually humiliating them day and night. They have no linguistic or religious rights. Iran claims that it's supporting the what they call mustad'afin or depressed people around the world, but it's depressing. It's depressing people inside Iran, and anybody who doesn't believe in what they call wilayat faqih has no right in the what they so-called Islamic Republic of Iran. Actually, the Ahwazi and other minorities need more help from international associations, from regional and international associations. We witnessed actually people who jailed for political speech, for example, no rights for speech, and the executions. We have like 5 cases a day during the Rouhani period, which claims to be moderate president. So all this tells us that Iran is the case since Khomeini till now gives no right to other people, other minority inside Iran, leave alone people who are outside, although it claims it's supporting people like in Bahrain, Yemen, Libya or Lebanon and Syria.
Dr. Mohammed Salami, how can we help the Arabs, the Arab world, the Arab League? How can we be of a good help to our brothers in Al-Ahwaz?
Well, we have many ways to help them. What are you doing now in media is one way of helping. I think the Arab League has to raise this issue in its next meeting. Many Ahwazi actually asked to give a chair in the Arab League for Ahwaz and to recognize them as a nation which is occupied by Iranian regime. Also in United Nations and the Human Rights Watch and other associations need more focus, and we need to send many letters to them, whether from the Ahwazi or the brothers Arabs in the region. The Ahwazi ask us as their neighbor and their Arabs and brother in blood to help them and to support them in these associations. Unfortunately, we didn't much in the period before, but now I think it's the time to support them and other minorities around Iran.
Dr. Mohammed Salami, I want to thank you, hoping to meet with you once again here in the studio. Thank you, sir, for joining me. Thank you. If the viewers as well, the Ahwazis have not sat quiet since 1925. They have fought back in many ways, by speech, by going to the United Nations, by going to the NGOs, the international organizations, the Amnesty International, as well as the human rights.